I think it's gonna be worth it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. If you are new here, this is a channel where I come at you every week. I sit down and I share what I've been knitting on, what I've been quilting, or whatever crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down. And believe me, we dive down many a crafty rabbit holes here on the channel. And if you can hear any hammering or banging in the background, I sincerely apologize. We are currently in the process of having part of our house replastered because 6 months ago, we moved into a Tudor-style revival. It was built in the 1920s, and it has one of those textured plaster facades, and there's some cracks in it. So we're finally getting around to tackling the facade. So if you do hear any ambient noise in the background, that's what that is. So I apologize. We should be back to normal audio quality next week. Aside from that, I don't think I have any other announcements. So without further ado, grab a cup of something, gather around, and let's get into the nitty-gritty of things. All right, elephant in the room. And no, we're not going to be talking about what Margot the mannequin is wearing because I chatted about that last episode. That is my Miss May MKAL, and I'll pop a link to that episode in the doobly-doo if you want to go check it out later. But the elephant in the room this week is my finished Fjolla, my friends. It is done. She is done. I'm wearing her. She's blocked. She's photographed. She's on the Ravelry, on the Instagram, and yeah, I am so stinking happy with it, guys. I knit this as part of the Dingley Dell Cal, a knit along hosted by Kim and Jonna of the Knit Together with Kim and Jonna podcast. They are also co-hosting it with Fjolla of MYAK Fibers and Isabell Kraemer, the designer of the Dingley Dell and also the Fjolla pullover. And the whole idea of the knit along was just to knit together with Kim and Jonna, knit whatever pattern you want with whatever yarn you want. There were no hard and fast rules, but because it was also being hosted by Fjolla and Isabell Kraemer, I decided to go along with it and get myself some MYAK fibers and a pattern by Isabell Kraemer and hop right on the bandwagon. This, believe it or not, was my very first Isabell Kraemer pattern that I've knit to completion. So I have nothing but good things to say about the pattern. It was so well written, and it was kind of like, it's gonna sound weird, but kind of like a massage for my brain because I'm so used to knitting my sweaters, you know, top down in the round with a round yoke and creases along the way. And this just had such an interesting construction. It wasn't your average, you know, basic, simple pullover or raglan pullover. I mean, even though you can see it kind of has like raglan, I guess you couldn't, raglan shaping is more kind of on a diagonal or on a bias, whereas this kind of has like a saddle shoulder, I want to say. I guess that's what you can call it. But this had such an interesting construction. It just kept me, you know, it's like a good book. As I was knitting this pattern, I had no idea what was happening, what the method to Isabell Kraemer's madness was. I was just along for the ride, following the directions, and it, like, from my needles grew this sweater. It was just so wonderful. The detail in this, it's unbelievable. And, you know, in hindsight, when I was looking for a pattern to knit by Isabell Kraemer, I saw this and was completely blown away. I was like, that is a beautiful sweater. I want it in my wardrobe. But I was a little intimidated by how complex this would get. But believe it or not, super intuitive lace, was easy to memorize. You know, once I was on Sleeve Island, I did not have to refer to the pattern. This part was just, you know, very simple as well. And yeah, just, you know, taking things step by step, little by little, biting off bits and pieces here and there, and lo and behold, I have a sweater. Yeah, so anyway, really interesting construction, breath of fresh air for me, and yeah, highly recommend it. Would I recommend it for a newbie sweater knitter? Adventurous sweater newbie knitter. You know, I say dive right in. She holds your hand along the way and, you know, just spells everything out for you. But if you're just dipping your toes into sweater knitting, I would err on the side of more simple. This, you know, there are a lot of little micro steps in here that you have to take, and, you know, it might be a little, you might be biting off more than you can chew. So, you know, if this is your first rodeo with a sweater, maybe stick to a simple raglan or a simple, you know, knit in the round yoke, if that makes any sense. But if you have knit one or two sweaters and want to, you know, take on a new challenge, you know, go for it, I say. The yarn. Oh my stars, you guys. The yarn, MYAK fibers, baby yak lace in the mustard color. I mean, can we talk about it? Butter, that's all I can say. It's just so warm and so soft. And you're probably thinking, Kristen, isn't it summer over there? It's only 73 degrees out, so it cooled down significantly. So yeah, I don't really mind wearing a sweater today. Go figure. But what was I saying? Goodness. Anyway, yeah, so MYAK lace. This sweater is knit holding 2 strands together, and I have quite a bit of yarn left over. Out of the 6 skeins that I purchased, I have just about 2 full skeins left over. I think I might have only used maybe about 5 or 10 grams from these 2 skeins to finish the sweater, so quite a bit of yarn left over. Maybe I'll knit a matching hat. I don't know. It's still TBD, but I'll let you know when I decide. So, yeah, what else do I want to say about this? The color is everything. I mean, I typically gravitate more towards obviously mauve colorways. I gravitate towards grays, blacks, greens. I guess you could kind of consider this a green, but it more so errs on the side of golden brown or mustard. Which I have been working into my projects here and there, but I feel like this is the first time I'm fully embracing this type of color for a full project. So, a little bit of a risk on my part because I wasn't sure how it was going to suit my complexion and everything, but I think it suits my complexion quite nicely. What do you guys think? Anyway, so yeah, that is my Fjolla. I should probably stand up and let you guys see. So yeah, I made mine a little more cropped as I find I'm liking my sweaters. She also incorporates a faux seam down the side over here under the arm. The sleeves, they are, I'm not gonna lie, now that I'm looking at them, they do seem a little longer than I probably should have made them, but honestly, for me, I love pulling sleeves over my hands like this during the winter. It just keeps my hands warm, it makes me feel cozy, and if I, just wanna, look presentable or whatever, or normal if I'm going to a formal event or something, whatever you call it, I can just do that. But yeah, they are a little baggy over here. But again, I did not incorporate the sleeve decreases in the pattern just because, as I mentioned last week, and every time I talk about knitting sleeves, I avoid sleeve decreases because for some reason it always feels like sausage casing on my arms. Even though I have like stick arms, whenever, I don't know what it is, but whenever I incorporate sleeve decreases, the sleeves just have a way of, being really tight around my arm. So I just forego the decreases and I just knit in a straight tube until I'm ready to knit the ribbing, and then I do a rapid decrease and I get these little balloon bubble sleeves, whatever you want to call them. Mushroom, we never settled this last episode. I couldn't decide if these were called mushroom sleeves or balloon sleeves. Anyway, doesn't matter. So yeah, that is my Fjolla. Now I'm starting to feel a little schwitzy, so I might take this off. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else I want to say about this other than pattern and yarn combination? Chef's kiss, highly recommend it. And yeah. Hello there. Costume change and a coffee break. Even Margot the Mannequin gets a costume change. So, letting Fjolla hang out just for a little bit longer. Anyway, moving along to the next project. This is a new cast on, by the way. Just because, when you finish knitting one thing, you have to immediately cast on something new and shiny. And yes, I know I have many a project languishing, hanging out in the wings, waiting to be worked on. I am actually going to do a vlog either this week or probably most likely next week, where I just pull out all of my whips, my UFOs, go through them one by one and talk about whether I'm going to finish them, if I'm going to frog them. You guys have been requesting a video like that, so I think the time has come because, knowing in the back of my mind what I have on my needles right now, I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed, which happens occasionally. When you are a polygamous knitter, you have a lot going on, and the things just piling up. It gets to you after a while. So that's the one thing during the pandemic when I was just a monogamous knitter. I didn't have to worry about anything else. I was just focused on one thing, and that was it. But I don't know what's in the water. Suddenly I just want to cast on everything. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not fighting it. But it does get to a point where I'm just a little, gotta make some decisions here. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing in next week. So watch this space if that's something that you're into. But in the meantime, you know, cast on something else. And as soon as I saw this, I was browsing Ravelry. This is the Travel Mode 2.0 by Sosu Knits, whose real name is Susanne Sommer. And yeah, she is, like, her patterns are, I would say they err on the side of complex because her designs are just so beautiful. I mean, typically they incorporate a lot of brioche. If I had to guess, she's probably very good at math, so she can figure out all these different shapes and dynamics. And anyway, I digress. She just released a pattern called, again, Travel 2.0. The original Travel 1.0, I think she did as part of another collaboration. Anyway, she created a different version of this, which incorporates garter stitch, but they form this kind of herringbone pattern. And when I saw it, I was just like, that is what I need right now. I just want something where I can just go on autopilot and knit back and forth, back and forth. I can sit down, watch movies, Netflix, YouTube, and not have to worry about focusing on what my hands are doing. I cast this on 2 days ago, and I'm surprised by how far I've come. So here is what I have. I am thoroughly enjoying this so much. I mean, clearly you can tell if I cast this on 2 days ago and I'm already here, you know it's a good sign. And this is a true stash busting project. I pulled out all of my stash, got messy on the floor, and just had at it and pulled out quite a few skeins that I thought looked really pretty together. This first colorway up here is Voolenvine yarns, my hand-dyed yarns in the Weep colorway, so it's like kind of like a charcoal gray. This colorway right here is also Voolenvine yarns in the Courtesan colorway on both Nouveau and Ghost Lace held together. The pattern actually does not call for mohair. I just happen to have a skein of Courtesan on both, you know, the Ghost Lace and Nouveau, and I thought, let's throw some mohair in there, shall we? And then this colorway right here is a skein by Wobble Gobble Yarns in her Old Fence colorway. I picked this up at Brooklyn General, I want to say 2 years ago. Super beautiful colorway. I mean, there's something about teal and orange that I absolutely love. I had a lot of mohair left over from my ranunculus pullover, and here's that colorway right here. This is Ito Sensei in the goat colorway, and I'm just holding this together with Old Fence. Just a really nice kind of, you know, mauvey gray, if that makes any sense. And then over here I have, let me see, what is it? Oh, it's Tiptoe, also my hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns, held together with Nouveau, again, with Nouveau and Ghost Lace in Tiptoe. And then down here, I'm moving on to Succulents, also Voolenvine yarns on my Nouveau base, but I'm holding it together with more of the Ito Sensei. And yeah, wow, lots of yarn, guys. I mean, I have like a whole bag of it here, and I'm just, yeah, thoroughly enjoying it. And again, the construction is so clever, but you know, very clever, but very simple. Once you're done knitting a section and you set up your next section, it's just smooth sailing back and forth, making a single increase or decrease on either side. So yeah, great pattern. And as the name suggests, travel mode. If you are traveling and don't want to focus on what your hands are doing, this, my friends, is the project for you. So yeah, what else do I want to say? Needle size, didn't swatch as per usual. This is a US 4, 3.5 millimeter, using Haya sharps. And yeah, anyway. Yay, new project. And those are all the knitting projects that I managed to work on. And oh my goodness, guys, I thought that they would stop with the saw, but again, the show must go on. I sincerely apologize if you can hear anything. Hopefully this microphone is canceling it out. I'm sure you understand and don't care. But if you do, I apologize. It'll be back to normal next week. But anyway, I know that I mentioned some new-ish cast-on projects last episode. Have not worked on them, and you know, I'll touch more on those in the next episode or the vlog. Anyway, is that foreshadowing? It might be foreshadowing, but anyway. Sorpresa, surprise. Yeah, anyway, where was I? Yes, so those are all the knitting projects that I worked on, and I guess, you know, let's talk quilting because, my friends, I sent out my peacock quilt. I pulled the trigger, I sent it out to Missouri Star Quilt Company. It is in the process of being long-armed. Apparently it's supposed to take 6 to 8 weeks for them to ship it back to me. A little longer than I was anticipating, but you know what? I think it's going to be worth it. But in the meantime, I am going to be quilting my Baby Kisses quilt on my home machine. So I already set up my quilt sandwich. So I've got my quilt top, I've got my quilt batting, and I've got my backing. And the backing, I was trying to find some matching fabric to go with a layer cake that I got, and I saw this on the website, so I just decided to kill two birds with one stone and just ordered enough backing for this quilt. So I don't know how well you can see this, but it's got one of those like comic book textures. I don't know, like it's very very graphic, and I don't know, I just felt like it kind of echoed or kind of went with the vibe that's happening on the quilt top. So it's really folded up, but I'll do my best to show you how I've got this going. So yeah, I'll stand up so you can see. All right, so yeah, we've got the backing, we've got the batting, and then the quilt top, and I've got little basting pins in just to hold everything in place. And the original plan was to stitch in the ditch because, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, quilting on, or like, you know, doing the little meandering lines on my home machine, which is a Janome New Home 2212. It's a basic bare bones machine. It gets the job done. You know, it's good for, you know, getting started, dipping your toes into sewing. And tackling a quilting project like this is I feel like, yeah, biting off a little more than I can chew. It can only handle so much. So, you know, that's where I got the idea to send it out to a long armor. But when I went to, Murray's Fabrics in Cape Cod, I was, you know, picking the shop owner's brain a little bit. And she's like, you know, if you don't want to send it out, you know, try just stitching in the ditch. So I'm like, that seems doable. So that's what I was trying to do with this. And I started doing it. And the problem with stitching in the ditch, I mean, this is, you know, a relatively small quilt. It's small. It's like 51 by 51 inches. So it's still a rather large quilt and a lot of fabric to wrangle when you're, you know, trying to get it through the machine. And the problem with stitching in the ditch is that, you know, if you're following a straight line and then have to pivot, I've got to move all of that fabric around multiple times to stitch in the ditch because, yeah, there are a lot of angles happening in here. So it's actually not the path of least resistance, I quickly discovered. Whereas, you know, when you're doing the meandering lines, you're just working in small sections, moving, you know, your fabric in and around which way, and, you know, you don't have to constantly pivot like this. It's just da-da-da-da-da. Am I making any sense? So yesterday I ended up going to the Nimble Thimble, which is my local, my very, very local yarn shop / fabric store. I mean, when we moved here, I truly lucked out having a place like this so close by. Like, I literally walked to it. And the ladies that run it are absolutely wonderful. I had a really nice chat with them. What are the odds? They service Janome machines and sell them. So, you know, I was picking their brains. I was like, you know, what would be the best way to quilt this on my home machine? And they were saying, you know, it's like you're really pushing the limits of your machine because it's so basic. They asked me about what kind of machine I had, and they knew their stuff. And they hooked me up with a Janome darning foot for oscillating hook models. So yeah, there's a whole science to this, guys. Who knew? I needed a darning foot, so this is the box. And it really matters whether or not you have a top-loading machine or a front-loading machine. I have a front-loading machine, but according to them, you know, to really get any free motion quilting done effectively, it's better to have a top loader. I don't know the science or method behind that, but anyway, that's what they said. Guys, I'm so sorry. So I popped this onto my machine and I used that leftover, remember I made like an extra quilt block from the Baby Kisses that was too pink and I wasn't going to use it? Use that as my practice run. And guys, it works like a charm. It really does. So, you know, obviously the Nimble Thimble does not watch this channel. I highly doubt it, but if by some odd chance you guys are, thank you so much. It seems like I'm getting really into quilting, like it's here to stay. It's one of these, you know, projects or one of these crafts that I'm very happy to move between knitting and quilting. You know, it's now part of my lifestyle. I'm happy to report. So yay, so excited about that. And I am already thinking about my next quilt project. I have some fabric in my stash. So I have this jelly roll. I might have showed it off, I'm not sure, but it's by Henry Glass & Co., and it's the Right as Rain strips, and lots of beautiful, muted mustard gold tones, and of course there's some mauve in here. And then I also have some other, it's not a jelly roll, but they are 2.5-inch strips just like this. So the original idea was to do a log cabin, but I was browsing Missouri Star Quilt Company, as I do, and they have this really fun looking quilt. It's called the Stars and Spools pattern, I think. So that, I believe, is what I'm going to be making out of this. It calls for exactly 2 jelly rolls. So that's what I have here. These, by the way, I don't think I even talked about what they are, but they're Caramel Macchiato Essential Gems by Willmington prints. They're all cream colored, but they have different textured prints to them. So I think there's like paisley in here, and then some floral prints. I don't know, but I feel like it would just go very well with these. And then for the border and the sashing, I have matching fabric. So these are also from the Right as Rain collection by Henry Glass. I think for the sashing, I'm probably going to use this or this print. And I really like this print. I think this is going to have to be the border, because look at this. Little tiny pears, guys. I freaking love pears. They are my favorite fruit, I think. And I cannot eat fruit, like especially the I don't know what it is. I think it's like a birch allergy or a pollen allergy, but as I mentioned in previous episodes, like pears, peaches, plums, apples, stone fruits, yeah, I'm allergic. As soon as I eat them, my whole mouth just starts itching. But, I do love pears. So unfortunately, while I can't eat them, I can admire them. So I really love this fabric just because there are pears on it, and it's very gothy, goth pears. Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing as a goth pear? But anyway, I love it. So yeah, I think that's what this will become. And then I also have, again, from the same collection, this glorious apple green floral print, and then taupey fabric with yellow flowers on it. I mean, something about this collection I really, really love. So I stocked up. I think that is all the creative content that I have to share with you this week. So again, I sincerely apologize for the hammering, the drilling, if you heard any in the background. Could not be avoided. And I think there's just going to be more tomorrow. So, trying to work around it, trying to make it work. Thank you so much for bearing with me. And, I hope you enjoyed this episode still. And yeah, what else? Life stuff. Yeah. You're looking at it. So anyway, thank you so much as always for hanging out with me. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. If you're new here and you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing down below. I put out videos for your viewing pleasure every week. And if you would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member. Just click on the join button down below this video or on the main channel page. And if you choose the A Cup of Something tier or higher, you get a bonus vlog from yours truly. Every Monday I publish a vlog letting you know what I got up to over the weekend, life-wise, craft-wise, behind my creative process, some behind-the-scenes stuff, with a couple of things sprinkled in here and there. I know I've been a little sparse on the sprinkled in here and there lately, just because life has been happening, and there's a lot going on in summer. But hopefully, come autumn, I feel like we're going to have a lot more sprinkles in the bonus content. Anyway, I digress. Again, thank you so much as always. And until the next video, have a happy weekend, happy making, happy sewing, whatever craft you're into. I hope it's bringing you so much joy and satisfaction and gratification. I will shut up now. I'll see you next time. Bye.